Okay, hello everyone. Today I'm just going to do a review of New World. So we're in the beta. We've had a good run on this from the very beginning. It's going to close in about 3 days' time, and so I think I've got as far as I really want to in this game. I've got a good impression of it. I know what's happening, how it works. So I'm up to level 36. Uh, so that's allowed me to get quite far. If you look at the milestones, the next milestone I've got is at level 45, and all that's going to do is give me a fourth quick slot and a third bag slot. So as you can see with the way this game works, as you level up, there's different milestones that you achieve. So again, what I want to do is caveat everything I do here and say that this is about the first beta. Uh, so to cut to the chase, based on what I've seen so far, I'd give it a score out of 4 out of 10, but it's a hopeful 4 out of 10 because it's a beta. There's a lot of things I like in this game. There's a lot, I've had a lot of fun doing it during the beta. So if I just go through the way this game works, is actually very easy to get into. You only have 5 different characteristics to go through. Strength, which increases the damage from melee weapons, like in this game are hatchet and longsword and warhammer. Dexterity, this increases the damage of ranged weapons and some melee weapons. So the dexterity would affect things like your bow or your musket, but it also impacts on your hatchet. Intelligence, this is going to be more for your life staff and fire staff. So the life staff is more about healing. It has this really great functionality where you can just zoom forward. The fire staff, which I didn't really try out, but I've seen other people use it, and is all about fire magic and burning things. So intelligence would increase the damage from it. The focus increases the mana regeneration and reduces ability cooldown time. So again, that's for your magic abilities. So lifestyle and uh, life staff and fire staff. The constitution, that's increasing your maximum health. So if you want to go for a tanky build, you're going to want to have constitution and strength. But also, if you go for magic, as the you might need to increase your constitution, and I'll come back to that later on. With regard to respecking your character, it's quite simple because all you do is spend the gold that you've collected. So with the weapons, I've already listed the different types of weapons you can have. You can have 3 different types as you level up, uh, uh, as you on your person, that you can switch between by pressing the 1, 2, or 3 keys. So initially, when you start off, you will only have uh, 1 slot. When you get to level 5, you open up a second slot. Now, when I played this, the first set on my second slot, the first weapon I put in was a bow, and I went with the melee weapons as my first weapon. With hindsight, I would now say that the second weapon I would go with is life staff. because with life stuff I can still do range damage, but it also has, as I said, the functionality to move you along really, really fast. Okay, there's then the vital section, which is what your mana regeneration rate is, and that will increase depending on your focus. Your cooldown reduction. Let me move away from the well because that's overlapping. So the cooldown reduction is your abilities that you might you get from your weapon skills, and your health. Your health increases by 100 every level, but it also increases according to your constitution, as you would expect. Okay, so then you've got weapon mastery. So initially I started off with a straight sword. I went with sword and shield, and then I tried the warhammer, and I finally settled on the hatchet. Uh, and the reason I went with the hatchet is because of this: rejuvenating kills. Hatchet kills restore 20% of your maximum health. I actually found that to be very, very good, because when you're killing things, especially if you've attracted a huge mob of them, every time you kill one, you get your health back. So you didn't have to use potions or anything like that. And potions take time to be drunk. And then there's another one, which is Immortal Berserk. So when you go into Berserk mode, you cannot die. And I actually found that going around with the hatchet made life so much better and easier compared to the others. And then the live stuff. This is the one I was talking about, and this is the tree that you want. Speed of light, dart forward 20 meters, and then dart forward 40 meters as you level it up. So I don't use the other items on it. I only leveled it up so that I could get that. So for each weapon, you have two possible weapon trees that you can go to. So here you got the sword, you got the shield. So here Juggernaut, this is more about just smashing things, and this is about the crowd. But as I said, I mean, it's good, but I actually prefer the hatchet for this beta. I mean, when it goes light, it might be different. So you've got, these are all your combat areas. You've then also got your trade skills, which are life skills. And what happens is that as you level these up, you get unlock more and more functionality, and the life skills are basically split into 3 different areas. There's the crafting, there's the refining, and there's the gathering. So if we start off with the gathering, this is basically what you'd expect, where you go out into the world and you find items and you get those items. So there's 4 different types of items that you can get. There's the logging, which is where you basically go down and cut trees. And the higher your level, the greater the chance that you're going to get rare items from any of these activities. And the more of these items you will get. As you level it up, you can gather higher levels of different items. So for instance, at 200 I can gather weirdwood. And the tracking, what that means is that, so here you've got above on the HUD, you've got this tracker where it says north, south, west, etc. So here you can see that now I'm pointing at the rabbit, so it's tracking the rabbit. So as you unlock, that tracker will show you where different items are. So as I unlock it, so at the moment I can see where the iron are, where silver are, because I'm at 124, and also oil. And when I get to 130 in 6 levels, I can start to unlock the lodestone, so I can start to actually mine it. Each of these items, iron, silver, are found in different areas. So for instance, silver you can usually find in wolf dens, gold in bear dens, oil in swamps, iron you'll find near hills and mountains ranges. Harvesting is where you can basically pick up different items. So like with hemp, you can use that to make linen, and that would be part of the refining skills. And tracking and skinning is where you can actually kill items and get raw hide and heavy hide from them. Now the refining is where you can take your the items that you've gathered and refine it to make something better. So for instance, if you go to smelter, if you collected the wood, you can burn the wood at the smelter to get charcoal. If you had iron ore, you can make iron ingots by smelting it. To make the steel, however, because that's a higher level one, you would need to combine the iron ingot, charcoal, and oil. For silver ingot, for instance, you would have to combine silver ore and charcoal. And so as you go up, you're going to need to have a higher level at smelting and the higher ores and other items. Excuse me. And it's the same with woodworking as well. So so these are combined. It's very reminiscent of Skyrim. So you make timber, make lumber, and then so these can be made with normal wood. But to make these planks, weird wood planks, you actually have to have a high uh, logging level, so you can get the weird wood and then actually make the weird wood. And then it's the same sort of principle with leather working, where you can use rawhide to make coarse leather. Rugged leather you would make using the coarse leather and tannin. So just a word on some of these ingredients that you use, extra ingredients. So something like tannin, solvents, they're not items you can make. They're items you discover as you explore the world. So they come from chests. And I quite like that because you have to explore the world and you have to try and find it. Uh, and again, with weaving, it's the same thing. So the linen comes from the fibers that you get from hemp. So once you've got that, refining, so gathering, refining, the next step would be to actually craft items. So with the crafting, there's a number of different areas where you can build up your skills. Weaponsmithing, you can make weapons. Armoring, where you make your armor, like your shoes and stuff. But there's also, and this is quite important as well, actually. If I can just show, Just trying to find it on here. You can make bags. And what the bags basically do is they allow you to increase the amount of weight you can carry. So here we go. So the satchel here. So here, this is your basic satchel, and then they increase. And again, the type of material that you need uh, increases as you go up to the different levels. So there's quite a few requirements here. So here, you need to have armoring skill 38 to be able to do this. Uh, but the ingredients that you also need increase. Engineering allows you to create muskets and the tools that you need to do life entering. Weaponsmithing, I mentioned it, but I didn't go into the menu. This is what you would expect, which is the weapons and the shield. Jewel crafting allows you to make the amulets, rings. There's different types of amulets and rings depending on the type of build you're going for. So magician's ones would be for people that use the fire staff and the life staff, etc. And the different things in particular. So for instance, this ring increases strength and constitution, and as you increase the level of the ring, so the amount of strength and constitution you get, whereas the duelist ring would increase your dexterity and focus. So all the way down to different types of earrings. Arcana allows you to create all the different potions and the life staff that you want or might need. Cooking allows you to create food that will give you buffs. The cooking you can do either at the kitchen within the city or at your camp, and the same with some of the arcane stuff. Furnishing allows you to create items for your house. Each town allows you to buy a house that you can then populate with items and increase points for. I'm not quite sure what happens with the higher points, what rewards you get. But the one thing that is important, I think, for in the house is actually to get these trophies, and they unlock at higher levels. And basically, what the trophies do is they give you buffs. Um, the way it works, from the looks of it, is that there's a limit to how many items you can put into your house once you get it. And to increase the items, you actually have to number of items in the house. You have to increase the number of your standing rank within the town, and you do that by doing quests within that town. So one of the easiest way to get quests is actually to go up to something which is the town project board here, and then you just do these quests, and they will give you like some project points. They give you coin, and they give you territory standing and XP, so you can become better. You can also get a quest from the faction leaders. So we've had a look at all of this. What the journal does is it tracks all the quests that you've taken, and it also tracks all the documents. Now the documents are pages that you'll find as you're exploring and tell you stories about the world that this is all set in and the story. So there's the quests are the journal split into different types of quests. So these are like main story quests, and as you'd expect, they help the main story to go along. And that part of the rewards they'll give you is a weapon case or armor case. So they'll give you armor and weapon on a random basis, which might be good for your character or might not, depending on how far you've travelled. Faction missions. So basically, there are 3 factions in this world, and you choose which one you want to join at the beginning. And once you've joined, that's it. You're stuck with that one. And the idea is to help your faction to grow. And as it grows, so you get more and more items out of it. So as your ranking within the faction grows. And then the other one is, and I'll come back to that later, the town project, which I've already shown. And each town will have different town projects that will help that town to grow. Hi Jonah, how are you? I'm just doing a review of New World because we're coming to the end of it now. Town projects, as I said, are really good for improving your standing within the town. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. It finishes on the 5th. It's on today's the 2nd, so 3 days. But I think I've got far enough into the game to be able to do a review. This, I didn't see any recipe quests, but maybe that's because it's a beta and they haven't implemented it. So the other thing is the company. Now this is a guild, and although I'm a member of the guild, I haven't interacted with the guild. I haven't felt the need to interact with the guild. And this is one of the problems I've actually found in the game, is I've not had to interact with people. So although it's an MMO and there's other people there, I don't really talk to anyone. I didn't need to. I could just get on with the game by myself. One of the things I would have liked to have seen is a call to action where you have to interact with people. On this game, it feels like the only way you're going to interact with people is if you do PvP, because you need to get a group of people together to do the wars and sieges, etc. Whereas for PvE players, that isn't there. So the big content for PvE players after you've done your quest and you're leveling up is to do the heroic encounters, corruptions. And you could just be walking along and see a corruption like this, and you walk over there and you can just start joining in. You're not discussing with someone how to do it, strategies, tactics, like you would if there was a dungeon. So I think that's missing, and hopefully they start to put that in. The map I did like. So here what you can do is see that this is my faction mission. It's pinned in so that on my tracker it will lead me to this mission. This is a quest that I have, but because it's not pinned, I won't see it on my tracker. I won't see where it is. And if I decide to, I can turn around and pin the objective, and then I would go to that quest. And you can also do it here. on your journal. One of the things I would have liked to have seen is the ability to sort the quest by the town. That's not there at the moment. As you can see, the map is actually very, very large. When I started off playing the game, because I had to run everywhere, I felt that it would be good to have a mount. But having played this game for about 5-6 days now, I don't think that's necessary. I think the strategy that needs to be developed is that you basically stay in one territory, one area. You level up your ranking to 15 so you can buy a house. You buy a house, and by having a house, you can just quickly fast travel to the house. You can fast travel as well using something called Azeroth, but the house will make it easier, far easier. The other way to travel to towns is to use the recall to an inn. So you actually have to go to a town and then unlock the recall to an inn. So the way I've done it now is that because I've got a house there, I haven't got a recall to the inn there. But I've got a new, because I'm now focusing on Everfall, I've got a recall to inn. Yeah, yeah. This, I don't think this game has a mount. Because, I mean, at level 36, I would have expected, if I was going to have a mount, I would have expected it by now. Because that's quite far in. And what this does is, by focusing on that way of doing it, you can build up your trade skills so that when you go into the higher areas where you're going to find the other higher resources, you're actually able to mine them. One of the things that I would say about the main quest line is that part of the main quest line is to actually get us corruption staff. The corruption staff allows you to seal these corruptions when you finish them. If you do the corruption and you don't have the corruption staff, you can't seal the corruption and you don't get any rewards for it. So you have to hope that there's someone in you who's doing this corruption who has a staff, and they can complete it, otherwise you've wasted your time. So at the moment, the corruption quest for the staff, I wasn't really happy with. It sent me to different places and talked to different artificers in these areas. That one, this. So Everfall, Monarch's Bluff, Windswood, Cutlass Keys, and First Light. And then what I had to do was either kill or gather items from these areas while competing with other people. In some instances, the spawn rate on those items was really slow, so I would be there just standing around waiting for it to respawn while other people were doing the same thing. So it was taking unnecessarily long time, and that was making it boring. I think what I would have liked to have seen is, I like the idea of going to different areas to get it, but what I would like is for each area to have its own distinctive character. Each of these areas felt pretty similar to the others. So I would have liked to have seen each of these areas have its own challenges based on the actual territory, and I would have liked to have seen that for each area you have a dungeon where you have to kill a boss to get a piece of the corruption staff. And one of the things they could do is have each of these dungeons as PvE dungeons that people can join as part of the end game. I think that would add in a lot more fun. It would make the whole company idea a lot better and give people a reason to interact with another if all they want to do is PvE. So as I said, one of the things I do like about this game is that it's nice and simplistic. The combat is nice and simplistic. Uh, and if you have a job and you just want to come in and you want to relax and do PvE with that simplistic combat system, the nice life skilling, having a dungeon where you can just mix with people who also enjoy PvE, uh, that's a really nice feature. So the heroic encounters don't actually do that. They don't give you a reason to talk to other people because this is something that where people would just um, wander upon. I have seen people form groups just so they can farm it. What they will do is they'll go into a territory where they know these are, and they'll go together and go one after the other. I don't think there's a lot more I can say about it, given that this is a beta. But what I am hopeful of is the fact that the game is going to develop into something really, really nice. Because I have enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun. So these are the workstations where you can craft the items that we discussed, which is the refining. So you go into here. If you've got linen, you would basically just say like how many. You need 4 fibers to make 1 linen. I've got 37 fibers at the moment, so I can make 9, and then you just craft. And then once I've made the linen, I can go and make the satin. And for satin, you need 3 linen and 1 solvent. So again, given what I've got, I can make 9. That's my weaving level at 135. And chance to craft additional items simply means that because I've said 9, I've got 3.25% chance I might get more. I also need a weaving level skill of 20 to do this. Would I buy this game? So the way they've done the game so far is they've got 3 different tiers of to buy the game. There's £35, £45, £55, so you get more as you pay for it. I think, given the fact that I could probably, I would hope that when it goes live, I could probably get 2-3 months out of this. I would probably buy it just on the basic package. If after the next beta I felt that the game had developed enough, so there's a huge amount of content. But of course, at that time, it also depends on what else is out there. So if you look at it, there's at the moment there's games like the ones if you know me and you see what I play Black Desert and I play Neverwinter, and this is in the same sort of category. Yeah, POT's kind of come around at the same time as well. PO2 is a different type of game though. So this is mostly in the same area as, I would say, Black Desert, Neverwinter, because it's the MMO type rather than the PO hack and slash type. So this is not as complicated as Black Desert. It doesn't have the open world PvP that Black Desert has, that I absolutely hate. So you can be flagged for PvP. You flag yourself for PvP here by pressing the U, and then when you go out in the world, you can get into fight other people that are also flagged for PvP. You can do faction missions, which are the PvP missions, and that means you can be killed or fought with while you're out doing those missions. But it's your choice if you want to do PvP. Whereas in Black Desert, if you're out and about, people can just kill you, and I hate that. If I'm working and I've come in and I just want to relax after a hard day and I don't want PvP, I don't have a choice in Black Desert, whereas I do here. So I love that. I love the fact that the combat is very simple. You don't have to think too much about it, whereas with Black Desert you did. Yeah, you can lose your trade items and crystals when you die in PvP. On Black Desert. So before it used to be that you would lose your XP as well. That was just a game killer. Yeah, so there's a new character being released today that I'm going to start playing Black Desert again after this, which is why I'm doing the review. So I'm doing the assassin after this, as soon as the maintenance is done. So, and the other game that I play that this is competing against is Neverwinter. So the thing with Neverwinter I love is, again, the combat is simple, but it has the dungeons and the trials, and that's where I feel that there's a call to action to interact with the people I play with. So I joined a guild, and the guild runs the dungeons, runs the trials, and I interact with them. I am in a guild. I'm an officer in the guild in Black Desert. I have hardly ever interacted with the people in that guild, and I've been playing Black Desert for 3-4 years. With Black Desert, I found that I never needed to interact with anyone. With Neverwinter, I have. I've also played Final Fantasy, which is another one of these MMOs. Now, the reason I don't like playing Final Fantasy 14 is because of the control system. I don't like the control system. I love the control system on this. It's the same as with uh, other good one MMOs. You basically use the WASD to move your character around, and the mouse to control the camera. That to me is intuitive. Okay. Alright. So Jonah's just telling me that he's moved the controls about in Final Fantasy. If that's the case, then okay. Then if I can move the controls around in Final Fantasy, then I'm going to give it another go because that gave me a headache. So if that's the case, then this would compete against Final Fantasy 14 as well. Uh, Graphics wise, I prefer this to Final Fantasy. But the graphics aren't everything, it's all about gameplay as well. Um, I think I'm going to leave my review there, and I'm going to leave the game here as well now. And what I'll do is I'll wait for the next beta. And as I said, I have actually enjoyed playing the game. I've enjoyed doing the crafting. I've enjoyed finding the items. Whenever I found the items, I did get a sense of excitement and progression. I enjoyed the fact that I was able to increase the item levels by adding gems in. I like the fact that as I was running along, if I had too much items, I could just salvage them while on the run. There's no vendor system. There is an auction system where you can sell to other characters. I like the fact that you can create these satchels and increase the amount of weight you can carry. um, Let me just show you my house as a. So if I just go house, so as I said, you can have a house in every territory. I've put this item up here, which is the wall hanging, note, paper, and plants. I've also put a bunk bed in, which I crafted at the crafting station. So as well as paying for the house, and each town has a different cost for the house, on a weekly basis you have to pay tax. And this isn't in-game week. This is a real life week. So as you can see here, I have to pay 100 gold every week, which actually isn't a lot. I can decorate the house, I can fast travel to the house, and I can get trophy buffs when I make trophies. Uh, if you go to the house menu, you can also see where your house is in rank compared to other people's. So at the moment I've got 26.425 points. So the more items you put in, the more points you get. And I'm number 2. And you can just buy houses in different areas. The list is updated in every 2 days or so, and it's going to be updated again in 46 hours. I'm not sure. Uh, I'm not sure what's going to happen about if you take a break for a couple of weeks, about if the tax builds up, because as I said, the beta's not been out long enough to test that. What I'm hoping is that the next beta we'll be able to test it even more. And now that I know from this beta how the game works, the next time I do the beta, I'll be able to do a lot better. So I can skin this. I've killed the wolf. I can skin the wolf. I get experience for killing it, and I get gold. I skinned it, and I get meat, and I get rawhide. But it also dropped the old pirate gunslinger's hat. Uh, so this is worse than I've got. I don't like it, and I can just do S and left click and salvage, and that's it. So I get salvage parts down here, and the most you can have is 2,000, and I've got that. You can, if I press R and the left click, I can repair items. So I can just keep going and repairing it. Right. Okay, so I'm going to leave the game here because I think there's not a lot more I can do about it. I'm also going to stop streaming for today because I've got other things I need to get done. I might be back about 1 o'clock UK time to do Black Desert online and the new character. So thank you all for joining. Yeah, new character you can start playing today. Last week you could design the character, which I did. So I've created the character, and now I can play it. And what I'm going to do is level it up to about 61.